welcome to my Week 4 LCK Power Rankings, where I will be covering the 10 teams, 10 through 1, rank them based on how they performed last week, the split as a whole, and how I feel that they're going to play this out. Obviously, we're going into a week break where some teams will be able to get better or worse, depending on how scrims go. And, it's still early in the split, so a lot of things can happen. Nevertheless, I do this for all 4 major regions. The LPL one came out yesterday. LEC comes out tomorrow, and LCS Thursday. So let's get started. 10th place, I have moving down 2 spots, I have the Guangdong Freaks. They lost to Genji and Fred Brion. This is the team right now that I am really... the way they lost was not in a way that made me think, oh, this team has potential to grow. I think they are really, really struggling in all roles. They need a lot of help. And going with Keen in top lane, and going in on him is not working out for them like it works out for KT and Rascal, which is concerning. They need help in mid lane. They need help pretty much everywhere. They are just, I had a difficult decision figuring out who's going to be 9th through 7th, but I knew I wanted the Freaks 10th to kind of give you an idea of how I feel about them right now. They are just, Teddy can't do it. He can't do it for them right now, and it's unfortunate because Teddy's a good player. 9th place, and this is where I started having trouble because I don't like putting... I do not like putting teams and players in places that I don't like putting players in places, not players, teams in places below ones they beat, but HLE still leaves me wondering what they're going to be. They beat Sandbox, lost to Damwon. That's a good week. Losing to Damwon is no bad thing. You lose to Damwon, you're HLE. What do you expect? Beating Sandbox is a big win. Beating teams in this area is a big win. But I just don't feel the same way about HLE as I do about Sandbox going forward. Like, HLE leaves me wondering, did they get... they won because Sandbox poorly drafted. And if that's something, that's all it is. That's something that can be easily fixed. Whereas players... HLE on paper have worse players than Sandbox, in my opinion. So that's kind of what it comes down to, why I have Sandbox 8th here. So, my board's moving all over the place. So Sandbox beat KT, big win. That's mainly why I have them here too. Sure, losing to these guys is not acceptable, but beating somebody up here, beating teams that you need to steal games off of is a big deal. Kind of shows what Sandbox is. Like, they can compete with these guys, but they also can lose to these guys. So what are they? They're a young team, growing, getting better, and over the split, hopefully they get better and improve and become a force. Come playoff team time, maybe they do take games off of KT again. Who knows? They have the potential to do that, and I think they proved it. 7th place. Despite, I almost had them higher. Fred Brion dropping 1 spot to 7th. Beat Guangdong. Should beat Guangdong. Lost to DRX. Not good. These guys can't lose to teams like this. But the problem is the style of which they play is that slow and steady style, banking on teams screwing up, and DRX did not screw up, so DRX gets the win. Now that's, against these guys it's okay, against these guys it's okay. And you got lucky against these guys, which is a veteran team. Making mistakes, but they can't lose to DRX. They can't do that. Adding Sword is a big deal. That's why I'm kind of hesitant on why I dropped. hesitant on dropping them to 7th because I think Sword, proved it. He was my MVP in the series he did play this past week. He gives them something that Morgan did not, and it's simple as that. And I'm curious how that will help them against a team like KT in top lane. Against DRX and Nanshan in the future. Maybe Fred Brian can improve in the record and, in just general, like their team composition, the options they have in draft, the style of which they play. Maybe they don't have to play slow and steady if they give Sword champions that he can actually pilot. 6th place. Dropping 2 spots. Going 0-2. Uh-oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's just check my board real fast. Okay, didn't fall down too far. So, Red Force 0-2. The only team that went 0-2 this week, not named Kwangdong. So these two are the only 2 0-2 teams. Lost to T1. Okay. Losing to DRX is a problem, though. Ghost is a problem. He is not looking good. Even games he pops off, he doesn't look good. BDD isn't carrying them like they need to be. Kana is probably their best player right now. Honestly, Red Force is a real weird team. Last week they were the hot team. Oh yes, they're good. But then this week they suck. This is just not. They need help. I think I was even looking at like their academy roster or challengers roster, trying to figure out how can they improve because they, given the roster they have and like how old BDD is and how old Ghost is, they have a time limit on when they can, follow through on this and get into Worlds and be a force. And I don't think Ghost is it. I really don't. I'm kind of just going to leave it at that. I really don't. 5th place. Moving up big. Moving up 4 spots. DRX. Beat Fred Brian. Beat Red Force. You move up to 5th from 9th. They're taking care of business against teams like this. Deft looked good on Jinx. They gave him Jinx and he executed on it to perfection. Deft and Barrel, like I said in my power rankings to start the season, they will live and die by the bot lane, and last week they lived and lived well. We'll see in future patches if Jinx gets nerfed, if things change, if the bot meta changes, they will change. But as of right now, they looked really good this past week. They took advantage against teams that are in their wheelhouse. These wins are important for them. This is what gets them in the playoffs. Those are the wins that will get them in the playoffs. Taking care of business against teams at your level. 4th place. Fourth place, moving up 1. KT. Big win against Gen G. Massive win. Lost against Sandbox. It's a wash. It's a wash for them. I moved them up 1 because Red Force did so bad. That's kind of what KT is. Rascal looks great. He really dumpstered Doran in their series, which is why they won. And that's where KT, like, I saw the upcomer power rankings for the whole world. They had KT 10th. Victory 5 I have above them. Because really it lives and dies by Rascal. And Rascal looked great last week. He looks great in all their games. They are what the Freaks wish they were. But they need to do more. They need to do more. Losing to Sandbox is not acceptable for a team like that. Especially a team that just beat these guys. Dropping 2 spots. Gen G. Is it right for me to drop them 2 spots because they lost? Maybe not. Maybe you could say, oh, well, you should still have them above Damwon. I don't. The loss against KT looked awful. Beating the Freaks is not a shocker for me. So Gen G beating the Freaks, good for you. You got to win, you should get. Losing to KT the way they did, I did not like. And the way Damwon, so we're going to just roll right into the next one because, I mean, we know what this team can be. This team can be here. It's one of the best teams in the world on paper. But last week it didn't look like it. And based on how Damwon played, last week, even in their loss to T1, and the way they beat HLE, Damwon is back. They are back. Watching them beat HLE, we were like, wow, they're back. Go against T1, take it 3 games. Wow, Damwon is back. They've righted the ship. Uber competitive, top 5 team in the world. They are very, very, very good. They're above Gen G in my book right now, for sure, because, I mean, Gen G clearly has some issues they have to work out, and Damwon is back at it, because, like, they play T1, who I have first, obviously. So, obviously, I have T1 first, but the way this series was a great series to watch. Game 1, save yourself the trouble, it was like 55 minutes, but that should give you an idea of how close these two teams are. This is a real deal situation here. Damwon's back. T1 beat them though. T1 outdrafted them. Everybody looked good on their team. Trying to think back right now. Zayas looked good at times. Faker looked good at times. Gumayushi looked good at times. Carrier looked good at times. I mean, Owner had his moments. Complete wins for them. Complete wins over these guys. And they also beat Red Force, which is a team in the middle, not at the bottom. Matters because these guys were able to snag games off of these guys before, I think. So the fact of the matter is, or these guys, one or the other. I think it was these guys actually. So these guys aren't as bad. Like, I mean, I always just said Ghost is non-existent. He looks like a ghost out there on the Rift. But T1 took care of business against them. They beat them. Clearly, they are on point right now. These two are running the table as it goes right now. And Gen G leaves a little bit of a mess behind. Obviously, in terms of tier list, I would say that this is definitely a big old line here. There is a gap here still. Oh no, and then it's pretty much this. I don't even know what to say. I mean, even though these guys beat these guys, I don't feel as inspired by HLE as I do about Sandbox. And so I would say these 5 teams are all together for me. KT has moments, and then they also have moments that they struggle, and Living and Dying by Rascal, we'll see how that goes going forward. As of right now, though, I would say they're definitely in the second tier. I don't put them here, and I don't want to put them in a tier by themselves because I don't think they are that much better than DRX, and I don't think they're that much better than Red Force in a full split. Nevertheless, thank you for watching this. My LCK Week 4 Power Rankings. Stay tuned. Like I said, tomorrow my LEC ones will be out. If you missed my LPL ones, they came out yesterday. And like I said, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.